You know how I know it's gonna be a good day? Because we just got a giant Pelican case full of unreleased hardware, and every time that happens, it's a freaking good day. Inside here is the Comino OTTO, a computer that I've never seen from a manufacturer that I have never heard of. And see, these are always good signs too. When there's a gigantic adapter on just the power plug. I mean, it's gonna be exotic, my friends. Let's go ahead and pull this thing out. Oh, wow. Apparently in this tiny thing, there's an 8-core Core i9-9900K and an RTX 2080 Ti. Not to mention, of course, liquid cooling. This is gonna be fun. With Glasswire, you can see what's going in and out of your PC to monitor and block badly behaving apps. Use offer code Linus to get 25% off at the link in the video description. All right, well, they're serious about it getting here in one piece, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's one of the only ones in the world. It's very engineering sample-y in spots.
Wow, yeah, I can see that. Have you had this out? I mean, it's like, it's nicely cut and everything, but I will say that that is a little raw looking. Honestly, I love the design though. The concave top looks super kind of futuristic looking. The convex front with the reservoir built into it. I am really excited to see what this looks like once we turn it on. That better be UV green fluid. Power button right here, USB Type-C. They've built that into their Auto.
Yeah, it is also worth noting that all of the colors can be changed, like completely custom. So if you want it like black here or red here or whatever, pretty simple.
So they intend to sell this thing, do they?
Yeah.
All right, how does it come apart? Oh, wow, that's pretty straightforward. Magnetic side panel. Wow, so they just actually glued magnets to the side panel. Okay, it's a little engineering sample-y. A little bit of history on these guys. They have a lot of experience when it comes to server cooling and building servers, and we're actually seeing some very server builder design sensibilities here. Well, as long as all the cables are, all together and they're out of the way of the airflow, then that should be good enough. And so they've actually got things like cable combs installed, but the function of them is sort of, they missed the point somewhere along the line. No, wait, hold on a second. Like, what is this connected to? I'm so curious because it looks like a 16X slot. It looks like a 16X to dual 8X ribbon adapter, but
Also like these fittings. I have never seen anything like that before in like consumer hardware.
oh, wow. So these are like a dual 90-degree, yeah, this is like, not soldered, what's the,
Brazed?
Yeah, brazed. These fittings are brazed. So they've done like a brazed, probably brass fitting, and then they've plated it. That's incredible. So, and check this out. This type of hose clamp is like a very, like building style of hose clamp. So they actually take like a big ring and then put like a crimp sort of thing on it and like crimp it. So they bend the metal in order to put the hose clamp on the barb so that the tubing won't come off. Like that thing it's never coming off. Okay, so hold on. We're getting distracted here. We're getting distracted. I don't remember the last time I saw a simple desktop computer made out of what is essentially commodity hardware, like Asus motherboard, Asus graphics card, that was this different. Yeah. Like, look at this airflow shroud that they've built here. Why did they do that? Well, separate cooling zone for the power supply. So they've actually cut a little slice in it so that they can run this tube up to the reservoir in the front and then not compromise the individual cooling zones. That's freaking awesome! Again, very servery stuff.
Yeah, like I don't think I've ever seen a small form factor PC like this that hasn't had two zones where it's like CPU and like motherboard on one side and GPU on the other. They've all done that since, I think, was it Dan that did it first?
I think it was the Dan case that did it first. Ooh, that's nice. They've got a temperature sensor going into the reservoir up here. I guess that's what happens when you build your own reservoir from scratch. You have all these cool features. Okay, I really do not understand what I'm looking at here. Ah, this is a splitter of some sort. So this piece right here, made out of like Delrin or something like that, goes in through the graphics card. So it goes out that way, up from the graphics card, out here. Then it also goes down to the CPU and then back to the res. And then this goes over to the radiator and over to the res. Got it. One thing I will say they didn't do an amazing job of is the power cable. So it uses a system we've seen many times on small form factor builds where the power supply is actually internal and then it runs an extension out the back of the case. They've gone under this little cover for it here, but then they just have it come out like a tail. So that's why it has to use this adapter, because now that it's assembled, there is no way for us to change the power cable. Usually you get like a receptacle on the back of the machine. You want to do the honors?
Sure.
Hit it. And of course, it is RGB AF. Oh, that is a really nice effect on the perforations. I like that. You know, maybe there's something to be said for letting server manufacturers play with our gaming machines. This res is so cool. Like, how did they make this?
I actually have no clue.
Like,
there's no machining marks.
I know, right? Honestly, the back's almost as impressive to me as the front. And, oh yeah, look. There's definitely CNC marks there.
Oh yeah.
Yep, so that's definitely how they're doing it. They just have a way better CNC than we do. That's all there is to it. Are we supposed to take it apart?
I have no clue. They didn't really tell us anything about not taking it apart.
Okay, cool, because I do kind of want to see what makes it tick.
The max on all of the cores has been 50 degrees so far. They're sitting more around like 33 to 45 though.
Cool.
30 degrees max temp so far. Oh, we haven't, we haven't done much,
yet.
But still, that's very promising. What is the temperature in here anyway? If we're going to say that the numbers are real good, we might as well actually know what they are. Yeah, it's 18 degrees in here, so that helps a bit.
You know, normally you get like your super micros of the world and they try and do something gamery and it's just like, yeah, it's like you read a book about what gamers like once, you know?
Yeah.
This is just cool. The big thing I want to know here is not necessarily what temps we're going to see, but whether those fans get any louder, because if they don't, then I think we could easily tune them to come down quite a bit quieter at idle.
Yeah, and if the temperatures that we're getting are still like 50 degrees, we can probably get this thing to all core 5 gigahertz, no problem.
We're still only at about 70 degrees, which is very reasonable, but...
Still 4.7 though.
Yep, so that's what we would expect for a well-cooled 9900K.
And as far as I understand, I'm pretty sure that all of the VRMs and stuff are cooled also. So we should be able to get it really fast.
Why does this thing feel so snappy? Like even just installing, you know, Microsoft VC, redistributable, whatever, when we launched the game, it's just...
3200 megahertz RAM,
nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Like you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like when you have a machine that's got great specs, but like you go to launch Windows Explorer and it takes forever to, you know, load in all the drive information or whatever, like it just, I know it's a fresh install. I've seen a lot of fresh installs in my day. All right, anyway, I've seen enough of this. Let's go ahead and see if we can overclock this thing.
Yeah, it didn't get to 70 degrees there. We have lots of room.
Yeah.
Well, should we just go right for the load 5 gigahertz OC profile? I'm not a huge fan of it, but
sure.
Screw it. Wait, does all it do is just do sync all the cores 5-0 and set everything auto? Oh, she's hot. Really hot.
Not too hot. 91. Hey, for the form factor, are you not still impressed?
Oh yeah, totally. I kind of forgot about that actually.
It's literally half the volume of the kind of machine that you would normally say has enough cooling to just be like, yeah, sure, 5 gigahertz, all on full auto. Like these are not optimized voltages. I'm sure we could turn it down and have it run cooler. Our render finished without incident. It took 2 minutes and 39 seconds. That's about what we'd expect for a 5 gigahertz all core overclock.
Yeah, max temp was 96 degrees, which is, you know, that's hot, but also it did it, and this is probably a horrible overclock, so.
Let's hit it again. This time, CPU and GPU. What we're finding out here is whether the GPU heating up the water pushes our CPU over the thermal throttling threshold.
CPU seems to be doing the same basic thing as last time.
One core did hit 98, but that still doesn't exceed Intel's safe spec. And you wouldn't be doing this very often.
Still 43, 44, I think that's as high as it's gotten.
Yeah, it's still only about 65, 70% usage though.
Yeah.
And we've got a core that hit 99 now. Loudness-wise, one thing I think they could optimize right out of the gate is you can see how there's the perforations on the top, but there's also a fine mesh under it.
Oh yeah.
I think that's a big mistake for them from an airflow and an acoustics perspective. I think just by making that small tweak, even switching it from like a metal grill like they've got in there to something like a fan filter type material, like a finer mesh, I think could make a big difference there. And there's no doubt that it's not particularly quiet when you're really hitting it, but from a cooling standpoint, I would say this is the most impressive small form factor machine that I've seen yet. These are 140 mil fans too. No wonder it's handling it like a champ, even with that restrictive grill on it. I just assumed it was 120 mil.
So we're here, 1440p, high settings, not the highest, like we don't have RTX on, but it is, this has to be like 150 FPS easy. Especially when combined with like, this is the 1 millisecond monitor, it's just, oh.
That looks really, really good. And of note is that this is still running at kind of idle noise levels.
Yeah.
So it didn't crank up the way that it did when we hit it with a really heavy CPU load like that Blender render. Do you really want to take this thing apart?
Yeah.
It feels like disassembling the Mona Lisa a little bit.
That's a bit of an exaggeration, I think. I really want to look at the fins.
You're gonna take all the way down to the blocks?
All the way down to the blocks.
Do we have to? I really like it. I want to use this as the VR gaming rig. It's so nice.
We can put it back together.
You never will. We're not taking it apart. I like this thing too much, and the one thing I was really curious about, I actually figured out for myself. The reason I was confused by the positioning of the GPU was that actually they removed the bracket at the back. So they just screwed the GPU directly into the back panel. So that's why it looked like the thing was too close to this. It's just a normal PCIe slot. It's connected here. You've got two of these 8X connectors because they couldn't fit one of those big chunky ribbons in here. And that's all there is to it. That's all we need to know. This thing is freaking awesome, and I don't want to take it apart because I want to use it as a VR gaming rig because it is freaking awesome.
Yeah, so I guess I do have the prices here.
Oh, okay. What is one of these gonna run you? Like, how does it compare to a Corsair 1? That's really the question, because compared to DIYing something, obviously, for this level of integration, you're gonna be paying a premium.
So this one right here that we have in our hands with the i9 and the 2080 Ti is $3,600.
US?
Yeah. Yeah, they also have a super version for $2,100 that has a Ryzen 5 3600 and a 2070.
That's too much for a Ryzen 5 based machine.
Yeah, and they have a DIY version that's $450. That's just chassis, reservoir, riser, radiator, RGB strips.
Okay.
So if you want to just completely build it on your own, you can.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. It could be done. We could do it. It's actually harder now that we would have to disassemble theirs, because I wouldn't assemble mine with crimps on the the tubing.
They also have a version for $1,050 that has like everything that you need, including like water blocks and crap. You just don't get like, you know, the actual components.
Okay, so you only have to buy CPU, GPU, motherboard, RAM, storage, and coolant. That's not actually that far out there compared to the Spectre that we looked at recently.
Yeah, very similar, I would say.
I like it.
I do too.
I declare it to be good.
Honestly, I came into this thinking like, just another small form factor. I really like it too.
You know what else I really like? Segues to our sponsor. iFixit Mahi driver kit that we actually opted not to use today. Oh wow, that could have worked out really well. Bummer. Comes loaded with a hefty 1/4-inch aluminum driver with a magnetic bit socket, a knurled handle for a no-slip textured grip, and a silky smooth swivel top. The driver pairs with 48 1/4-inch steel bits that are built to handle the toughest and torquiest fasteners in any home or shop project. Every bit is held in place by a laser-cut foam case with a magnetized lid that doubles as a sorting tray, and it's absolutely perfect for people who are prone to dropping things, thanks to the magnetic thing and the thing. Yes, very, very funny. How'd that make its way into my iFixit talking points? Visit iFixit.com/Linus and pick up the new Mahi driver kit for just $30 US. This is the Mahi? I thought the Mahi was a different one.
Oh, it might
That's
not
not the Mahi.
Oh. Well, I really like this one.
You can also get that one.
Yeah.
That one's really nice with the big old like It's the jumbo.
Yeah.
That's what I call it.
Is it okay to plug other iFixit things and iFixit sponsors?
I think it's fine. I think they'll forgive us.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you're looking for another crazy water-cooled project, why don't you check out the one where we partnered up with Steve to sub-zero liquid cool a laptop.
Sure.
That was fun.